Welcome everyone to, I don't know, what is this, our third, fourth? It's kind of gone from my brain. We've done a couple of these.
We have.
Yeah, but Lucretia, thank you so much for not only uh, helping me with this live, but also heading outside today. And it's not quite as hot as it's been.
No, it's beautiful out.
Yeah, it's been 100 for like a month, which really makes me think what it must have been like for folks to come out here from Kentucky to Kansas, 144 years ago.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
And this is around the time that they're getting ready to come. But first of all, the most important thing, very important thing that I want to say is, how's my hair look, Boats?
I think it looks great. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm wearing a hat because I know how my hair looks like.
You're in compliance with the uniform being outside. Okay.
I also like to look like Smokey Bear.
Okay.
Most days.
My hair is really cute, you guys.
Yeah. I know. I feel like it's not until you're on camera where you're like, oh my goodness.
Right.
But today, what are we talking about today?
So our live is about what it would have been like for the folks that are coming out to Nicodemus. They're still in Kentucky and they're getting prepared to come to Nicodemus. So that's what we're going to prepared and coming out here. That's what we're going to be talking about.
Can't hear us? It says we're on. Oh, now we're upside down. I think we're good. Can you come over here, Tina, real quick? We can introduce you. Yeah. And also, I guess the newest addition to. Oh, there you go. Also, Tina Bates you're going to be popping in and out, but Tina, you're our newest member of the Nicodemus National Historic Site
Yes, I am.
Group.
Yes, I am.
So,
Very happy to be.
Yeah. So I think you've known about Nicodemus for a while, but now you're helping us out around the visitor center and giving programs like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
and I better go and do my duty.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks, Tina. But, yeah. So,
Can we guys can you hear us all right? Can you tap in and say you can hear us?
It looks great. I can hear you. Thanks,
sweet.
Melinda.
Sweet.
Because we can't tell.
Sweet.
Yeah. So where were we? We're going to be talking today about what it was like coming out here.
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. And I just want to throw a little disclaimer out there because Nicodemus is a living, breathing community, and there are descendants of the first settlers that came out here all over the nation. And so I just want to say that the information that I give is what I have researched and know about. So not trying to slight anybody or offend anybody's family or anything like that. So just wanted to give a little disclaimer.
Yeah, like if we, I think, talked about, include everyone, this live would be like 8 hours long, which we will do. Eventually we'll get there. And also when we say settlers, of course, like, we were talking about 144 years ago, Nicodemus came out here, but of course folks from lots of different tribes throughout Kansas were here as well.
Yes.
So when we say settlers, we're not referring to the first people who were out here, we're just referring to the settlers who were coming from Kentucky to Nicodemus in the end of the 19th century. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think we got all the qualifiers out.
Right.
Yeah.
So myself being a descendant, and I drop that information every chance that I get on this live. If you don't mind, I'd like to back my genealogy all the way up.
Oh no, go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so
how many greats?
I know. Yeah. I'm gonna break it down. And I actually had to write it down so that I can remember. So I have my children, and they are 7th generation descendants. And then myself, I'm a 6th generation descendant. And then I come from Johnella, who is a 5th generation descendant. And she comes from Luella, who is a 4th generation descendant. Luella descends from Charles, who is a third generation descendant. Charles comes from Emma, who is a second generation descendant. And Emma is actually pregnant when she comes to Nicodemus in September of 1877. And then Emma comes from Tom and Zarina Johnson. So I just wanted to break that
Well,
down.
that's great. And I think the first time, like the first week I met you, and I was like brand new to Kansas, and it was like negative 20 degrees. You showed me, I think, Zarina and Thomas's like plot of land they have in Nicodemus.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, their homestead. So we are on the town site, but Tom and Zarina and their children, Emma, Ella, and Henry, they eventually go north of Nicodemus out in the township, about 2.5 miles north of Nicodemus, and they set up their homestead out there.
Nice. So, and I think we've talked a lot in the past about, folks living here, but like if we go back, before, like in the folks in Kentucky, what was that looking like? Like how did folks decide? A question we get a lot is like, why Kansas, and why exactly here at the Nicodemus town site?
Right. So the push to come to Kansas in Kentucky during this time period, it's post Reconstruction, and so Reconstruction era had worked. We had black senators, we had the freedmen school set up, banks. Some folks were getting land. So the Reconstruction era worked in the South. But then when they decide that there is no longer going to be Reconstruction, and you have post-Reconstruction, and they're pulling out the troops, they're no longer, providing the schools. That's when senators are not being voted in and things like that.
Voting. African American men went from being able to vote to no longer being able to vote.
Uh-huh. So that great experiment started to fail, and so especially in the South, the folks were starting to realize that, okay, we're not going to be landowners. Times are getting rough out here. Jim Crow laws are taking effect. KKK is starting to rear its ugly head in the South, and so folks are looking for another option. So that is the push that's going on in the South. Now, the pull to come to Kansas, we had already been brought in as a free state, voted in as a free state, and 1862 is when the Homestead Act, is that?
Yep, that's the first version.
Okay.
And in 1865, they made a couple adjustments that, and they changed a few rules when African Americans could then start using the Homestead Act.
Okay.
Because there was a little like qualifier about like citizenship and stuff like that, so they had to like kind of nail that down. So I think 1865 is when you had, everyone, doesn't matter if you were African American, a woman, like everyone could use the Homestead Act.
How great was that? So Kansas is a free state. Homestead Act in 1875 has been tweaked, and they want folks to come out to the west and occupy the land. And so westward expansion, manifest destiny, that was really the pull for these folks to come out here, because these ex-slaves would be landowners. How awesome is that?
Yeah, get your quarter.
Yep. Where the bugs are.
Yeah, you could probably, I don't know, you can maybe comment of how much ambient sound of our Eurasian doves and like the cicadas. Yeah. And I guess also at the same time too, like a lot of the tribes were also in the 1860s, like were being forced off the land too. So, so I think in the ads you'll see like open land, like no one's here. You're like, oh, it's because things happened, and not to make light of that, but yeah, there was you had the push of pull of people coming out here, but then you had the push of tribes getting getting pushed towards reservations like in Oklahoma,
Yes.
like the Osage and Potawatomi that were in this area around the same time in 1877.
Definitely. Good point. Excellent
Mm-hmm.
point. So the folks have been told to, in Kentucky, mostly Kentucky, some other southern states, to be ready to head out to Nicodemus in September. And do you want to hold up the little?
Yeah, you may have seen this before.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. So this is very popular here in Nicodemus, and some of the handbills that was handed out in Kentucky in the South, and then also word of mouth. So they're telling people to be ready, and you can do so. You can go to Kansas. All colored people that want to go to Kansas can do so for $5 on September 5th of 1877. Do we know how much $5 is right about now?
Right, with adjusting for inflation, around $130, give or take, in USD.
Okay, okay. And so what folks also need to know is that $5 did not include their train ticket to get to Nicodemus, but we'll talk more about the train ticket as well.
Do you mind if I read a little bit of what the flyer said? Because
Hit
you
it.
guys can't see it.
Hit it.
It says, so, all colored people that want to go to Kansas on September 5th, 1877 can do so for $5. So, whereas we, the colored people of Lexington, Kentucky, knowing that there is an abundance of choice lands now belonging to the government, have assembled ourselves together for the purpose of locating on said lands. Therefore, be it resolved that we do now organize ourselves into a colony, as it follows. Any person wishing to become a member of this colony can do so for paying the sum of $1, and this money is to be paid on the 1st of September, 1877, in installments of 25 cents at a time. And then a bunch of other stuff. Agreed to consolidate stuff in Nicodemus town, Solomon Valley, Graham County, Kansas, and can only do so by entering the vacant lands now in their midst, which cost $5. And I think it also, in this part that we talk about a lot, is that this colony shall have from 1 to 200 militia, more or less. Didn't happen, guys. The case may require to keep peace and order, and any member failing to pay in his dues as foresaid or failing to comply with above rules in particular will not be recognized or protected by the colony. And I think you had, the breakdown was $2 went to your plot,
Yes.
which was about 100 feet by 50 feet. $2 went to the militia.
Yeah.
That was not 100. It was probably, I don't know, a couple of guys.
Yeah, and maybe with one gun that they're sharing.
So, a little smaller. And then $1 went to the treasury.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, that's good stuff. So, some of the notes that I took down, because I wanted to hit on some key points. So, Nicodemus was founded by W.R. Hill, and Hill was a white gentleman, and he gets this plot of land through the Homestead Act, the 160 acres, and then he plots it out, and he decides that he's going to sell the plots for $5 a piece to the people who wanted to have a plot of land here in Nicodemus. And we get questions about what was Hill's intentions and motives. Mm-hmm. Was he nefarious, underlining? Did he like the blacks? What was it all about? And I found some interesting stuff here.
Oh, this is new to me. So
yeah.
I'm
I didn't share it with you. I'm
sorry.
A
little bit, but I didn't read it all.
Okay.
There's some good stuff in there.
Yes.
And William, W.R. Hill's name was William. I feel like we don't often share that.
Yes. Just can you talk just for a second, because I'm gonna find where I didn't highlight where I wanted to read.
Yeah. So just a quick background of W.R. Hill is, especially if you're in Graham County, Hill is reason why Hill City is called Hill City, because if you go, which is about 15 miles west of where Nicodemus is, and if you go there, you'll notice there really isn't that many hills. It's because it's not named after a geographical location, which took me like multiple months to figure out, because I live in Hill City, and Lucrezia told me, no, it's named after a guy. And Hill was he was a land speculator, land promoter, and he tried to establish other locations, and he wasn't successful until he got to Nicodemus.
Yes. And so like I was saying, so people always want to know, what was Hill's deal? Did he like the black folks? Was he, was he nefarious? What was going on? And so what I found some of my research, and I'm just going to read it to you guys. This is the biographical sketch of W.R. Hill's life and work. Hill always seemed to feel toward the boys of Nicodemus, as he called them, like a big brother, and it was his request that at his death his pallbearers be chosen from the surviving men of the Nicodemus colony.
Oh,
And that Reverend Daniel Hickman preach his funeral. Yes, this request was only partially carried out, if at all, because Reverend Hickman lived in Topeka, Kansas at the time, and means of communication and travel were slow. Reverend Hickman did not get word of the death and funeral arrangements in time to make the train connections to Hill City. Hill's native home was in Missouri. He died in Excelsior Springs, Missouri, and his body was returned to Hill City for burial. Reverend Hickman visited the bedside of Miss W.R. Hill a while after the death of her husband, and not long before her immediate death, she wept and told Hickman how sorry she was that the request of her husband had not been carried out.
man, that is awesome.
Yeah. So
Oh.
he felt what's the word I'm looking for? Some type of affinity
Yeah.
towards the people
To-
of Nicodemus.
Yeah, because I know we often say, in polite words, Hill was a bit of a gray person throughout Nicodemus history. But man, that's so cool. Yeah, and to
Yes.
have the pallbearers.
And Reverend Hickman, Daniel Hickman, he wanted him to preach, but just communication was slow at that
Yeah, I
time.
can't like Zoom call someone back in the day. Zoom was very much in its infancy. But man, that is awesome.
Yes. So that's what the folks of Nicodemus, or that's what Hill thought about the folks of Nicodemus, which I find very interesting. But so back to the subject. What were the folks doing to get ready? Because now they're supposed to be ready on September 5th to leave Kentucky. And so while I was thinking about this, I was like, man, what are they feeling? Are they anxious?
I'd be freaking out. I'd be losing it actively.
And how about being the woman of the house? So you're trying to pack up your house, bring what only you can really carry.
Yeah, like essentially a backpack,
Yeah.
like maybe a suitcase. Yeah,
Right. So maybe you're trying to sell the other stuff.
give it away.
Yeah, give it away. So you're doing all this to get prepared, and then like the man of the house, and in those roles in those days, you're working every day, all day, trying to save money.
Yeah, because the railroad tickets were not only had you get your $5 for the plot, then like get a ticket for every family member. Yeah.
Yes, gosh. So I just try to imagine what they were feeling and what they were going through, because I just know when I get ready to go on vacation how I feel.
Yeah, I thought about, like, I moved from Arizona to Kansas in January, and I had Google, I had a car, and it was a rough move. Like, I got lost. It took me like 3 days to get here, but I also like ultimately I knew where I was going, but I do remember like that. They had that feeling of arriving at Nicodemus,
Yes.
and we can talk a bit more of like, it wasn't their expectations, but like I didn't know where I was living until like essentially showed up and like walked into like my apartment at the time, and
Wow.
it was just like, I think it was this combination of like excitement, but also unknowns can be scary.
Yes. And so these folks have never really left their area of Kentucky,
Yeah.
and they decide to make this journey all the way out to northwestern Kansas.
Yeah, and it was a 4-day train ride, right? From because they had to go to Lexington, and then it went to Cincinnati,
Correct.
and then went all the way to Ellis.
Yes.
And I know you talk a lot about being in the mindset of someone leaving, the green lushness of Kentucky to the just like entering prairie, and all you see for like in every direction is just more prairie, no trees.
Right, like they're like, where are the trees and where are we going? And just,
And then you get to Ellis, and then you're like, gotta walk 35 miles. Like,
good grief. So them getting prepared. Another piece of information that I found through the Graham County Historical Society, then their archives, and this is from Lula Craig, and so we really consider Lula Craig one of our first historians because she kept detailed records. But so 2 days before leaving, Mr. Hill called them to meet in a vacant tobacco house and said, "We have been getting ready to go away, some of you longer than a year. I hope each one is now prepared to go. We are loading the goods on the train day after tomorrow, so you must pack everything tomorrow. It will take all day, so start early." Mr. Hill called to Jacob Martin. "Yes, sir," answered Jacob. "Just as ready as I'll ever be, I reckon. I got my train fare and hadn't got much else to do." "Good," said Hill. "Now I call you folks here tonight to remind you for the last time to be ready. You men, contract workers, farmers and all, be sure to pack your tools carefully, and we will put your names on them. For packing your clothing and bedding, get large, strong boxes. Pack things in tightly. Also pack your dishes and cooking utensils. Put your garden seed in bags. Wagons must be taken apart."
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, wagons
Okay.
must be taken apart. Wow. "Plows, harness, iron kettles may be carried as they are. Tie spades, hoes, shovel, picks, and rods together with strong cord or wire. If you should need help, I will be around. Now you may listen to Reverend Hickman. He has something to say." "Yes, I have," said Hickman. "I'm going to talk about food." Very important.
Very important stuff.
And he says, "That subject will hold your attention, I am sure. It is now up to you women folks to prepare enough food to last your families 3 days and to put it in baskets or boxes. Cook whatever kind of meat you have, boiled eggs, baked beans, get cheese to go with bread. Be sure to bake plenty of bread to last. Even if other food should give out, bake gingerbread and sweet cakes, and to spread, bring honey and molasses. You would need 10 cups and 10 plates. Each family should bring a 2-gallon jug of water and a tin wash pan."
That is not a lot of water.
For I know, huh?
No.
Yeah, because what you get just a gallon right there.
Yeah. So 1 liter, which is like a big water bottle, is one water bottle, like a big one, is about a liter. The little plastic ones we have is about 20 ounces.
Wow.
So 2 gallons is just about like, I would say 8 to 16 water bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm assuming they had places to fill up along, hopefully.
They did. They did. You will need a blanket or 2 at night. Carry your shawls or cloaks, and last but not least, bring a crocus sack to carry a change for the children. Be ready on time.
Wow. I just loved how that could have been said, like, yesterday. Like, all of that is just really good planning and logistics. And also, yeah, like, all that still applies today. Like, that was a good amount of food, good amount of water. Like, this is how you pack. Like,
Yeah. So they were telling them to be prepared, but they weren't prepared.
Yeah, as prepared as you can be. I don't, I guess knowing more would be important, but I just, not knowing what Kansas is like, I don't know if I would do anything different.
True.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Okay, so they get on the train on September 5th, and you guys might have heard me mention earlier that my great grandmother Yeah, great 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 grandmother was pregnant when she took the journey here to Nicodemus. And so they left in September, and she has the first baby born in Nicodemus in October, Henry. And so she was super pregnant, you guys. She's riding the train, and then she walks over here, and their dugout is one of the first ones to be made when they get here, because she's pregnant and ready to have Henry at any moment.
Man. So she was like, what, 8 months, 9 months pregnant when she came out here? Okay.
Yes, yes. Woo. Tough women
Yeah.
and men.
Mm-hmm.
So they get here September 17th of 1877, and you guys have heard, well, maybe you haven't, but it's not what they thought it was going to be. They thought they were at least coming to a town, but when they get there, here, there's absolutely nothing here, and so they have to build the town up.
Yep. And in other articles like this one, they definitely were embellishing. Reverend Roundtree, when he wrote in his letter of like come to Nicodemus, he mentioned like beautiful black loamy soil. He was saying there's some trees out here, and I think some emphasis on some. How they're going to find coal. They found no coal. The rock was soft magnesium stone. They're referring to the limestone. But soft isn't always the best thing to build buildings out of. So a lot of the rock here wasn't really great for building. And yeah, I think it didn't really sum up the experience that that was about to happen.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, it didn't mention dugouts. It didn't mention walking 35 miles.
Sheesh.
But
Wow. Wow. So what did I have on my notes? So yeah. Hill was smart on who he recruited. He recruited the folks who had some type of trade, and so they would have money to get here and then money to pay him. And so that's one of the things that helped Nicodemus prosper, is because you have this group of folks who have a trade, masons, blacksmiths, carpenters, folks who had stores. And so that's one of the things that helped Nicodemus really boom, is because you have a group of people who have trades.
yeah, and I would say you also had a lot of like well-educated folks. You had multiple reverends,
Yes.
who were could read. They could teach people how to read. And
Yes.
you also had William Kitchener. I might have his last name wrong, but I think what he brought out was 4 books.
Yes.
I think he brought 2 Bibles, like a children's reader book, like how to teach kids how to read, and I think like a novel or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, education, I'm glad you hit on that, was very important. And so as soon as possible, they started teaching the children, schooling the children just as soon as they could through the Bibles, and teaching them how to read and write. So yes, politicians were coming out here, folks who we had lawyers, county lawyers, just like you said, a group of educated folks.
Sorry, I had you blocked out with the microphone the whole time. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so those are just some of the things that helped Nicodemus prosper. But our subject was getting ready to come to Nicodemus. I talked about what they were supposed to bring. We talked about what we felt like they were feeling at the time. And I have to mention, so Emma, my great grandmother, she's pregnant at the time, right? And they're coming out here. And so when I think about that, because her husband Charles did not come with her.
Oh no, I did
Yes.
not know that.
No, he did not. She comes out with her mother and father, Tom and Zarina, and her brother and sister, Henry and Ella. And so what I've been told is that Charles wants to stay behind and come with the next group of folks
Like
that
a
are coming
year
in.
later,
Yeah,
that
well,
one,
well,
or-
spring,
Okay.
spring. So they come in 1870, September of 1877. There's a next group that comes in the spring of 1878. Yeah, and so what I like to do is in my mind, I have the conversation that Emma and Charles have with each other. And so, if you guys just give me a second, this is the conversation I think they have. So, once again, Emma comes out here with her mom and dad, brother and sister. Charles stays behind and comes with the next group in the springtime. So, I'm thinking they're in Kentucky, and the conversation goes like this. So, Charles is like, babe, you're going to go ahead with the first group. I'm gonna stay behind, and I'm gonna come during the springtime with that next group. And Emma was like, "No, no, boo, no, I'm pregnant. I'm getting ready to have this baby at any moment. I want you there with me."
Because no way she was like, yeah, it seems good.
I want you there with me. I need you. I want you to come. And Charles was like, look here, woman, I need to work and save as much money as possible. So I'm going to come with the next group. You going with your mama and daddy and your brother and sisters, so you going to be all right. And so I feel like Emma was like, oh,
Yeah.
but okay.
Also, part of me would be like, how much of it is like, you're going to be first, and I'm going to go, and then you'll like, if everything's good, I'll come in springtime when it's warmer, and I'll just skip the winter part. Yeah. Because the winter was terrible. Like, the winter was
Oh,
awful.
man. No,
Yeah.
man, no, you can't do my great granddaddy like that. He was saving money.
Yeah,
with
no,
that.
no, no. I'm just saying, it's not a good, I don't doubt it, it's just not a good look. It's just not a good look. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the conversation that I hear in my head
Yeah.
between them two coming out to Nicodemus.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the thing is those conversations happened, like the ones you have in your head, those happened all the time. Hundreds if not thousands of times. And it was like, are we doing it? I'm not sure. And you can't Google Nicodemus. Like
Right. Right.
But yeah, oh man, that's incredible.
Yeah, so
and
that's
then Charles did come out the next
Yes,
year. Yeah.
yes. And so he does come with that next group. And so then I also have a conversation in my head of what happens. Like when he shows up, she was like, oh, what's up, boo? I miss you. He's like, oh, hey, girl, where's my baby? And so here's little Henry, and they hugging and kissing. And that's how I picture that whole scene.
That's awesome. Fill me in of your winner in this dugout.
We almost starved to death. Where's the money at, bruh?
But then the Potawatomi came. That was kind of crazy. But we didn't starve. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I think the bravery, and we also talk about like how tough these folks were, and like you said, Hill was recruiting for like skilled people, but I think you mentioned to me before he was also recruiting for people who would like be okay with rural Kansas.
Yes, yeah. Folks who were gonna be happy to be out here. So
Yeah. And we'll talk more a couple more about a few things, but if anyone has any questions about anything we just talked about, feel free to just comment on it, or if you have any concerns or comments, and we can talk about those too. Yeah. And then I think what I love is you get from 1877 dugouts, families being separated, reunited, and then within 5 years you have what was the town like a couple years later.
oh my goodness. So it was really it was starting to really prosper and grow. Limestone buildings, stores, general stores, 4 pharmacies.
A lot of pharmacy.
I know. I'm like, what was really going on? Yeah, 4 pharmacies, churches, of course, were the cornerstone of the community, banks, hotels, and just Nicodemus was jumping.
Yeah, barbershops. Like I think everything a town pretty much needs today.
Yep.
Yeah, that was going on. Cool. then you had business, like tons of businesses, like St. Francis Hotel, which is one of our historical buildings.
Yes.
That was like the first post office. And
Yes.
a school.
Yes.
It was what else? It was a hotel, and in the Nicodemus and Western Cyclones, like I don't know, you've seen these before, like the little like almost Yelp like ads for like the St. Francis Hotel, like the height of
Yes.
luxury, and they have cotton
Yes.
sheets
Yes.
and like
Yes. It's, those ads are awesome in the
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah, the bar I think for comfort was like pretty low to hop over. Yeah. And I don't know anything else about folks coming out here and moving. Yeah. Oh, because well, we didn't mention we've mentioned this a bunch, like the 35 miles between Ellis and Nicodemus. But we haven't really mentioned the Ellis Trail at all.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
yeah. So the Ellis Trail I think, is now a dirt road, and today, but it travels Ellis pretty much almost in a direct line north across the Solomon all the way to here. And you also had like there was a walking path, but you also had the wagon path as
Yes, yes, yes. So they, of course, and they said you can still see some of the wagon ruts, but of course, so the wagon had to take a different path that wasn't as hilly as the path that the folks took, and I thought that was interesting. I did not know that piece of information.
Would you want to walk? I think we talk about like walking the Ellis Trail. You wouldn't want to do it?
Oh, here, so you can see.
Would you guys want to walk? I would love to walk the Ellis Trail, and I'm a weirdo. But I think it took what, 2 days typically?
Yeah,
Right?
that they think it about 2 days, because they did have their supply wagons that Hill had at the Ellis train station.
And the wagons they took apart. And,
Yes,
and built.
yes. That's I did not know that piece of information either. I knew that they had their few supplies that they brought, but I did not know that they had wagons that they brought themselves. So these folks had a little bit of money, because we were not an exoduster town. Exodusters that left out of the South were pretty much left with what they had on their back, and they really didn't have any means, and they were looking for something better. The folks of Nicodemus, as I mentioned, they had to have a little bit of money, because they had the train fare, they had their $5, and then my cousin Angela, who is the historian, she's the historian, and she's forgotten more than I'll ever know. But she had made a great point that some of these folks, when they came, they had suitcases, trunks that they had. And so back then, if you had suitcases or trunks, to be able to purchase that, you had
You're crushing it. Yeah.
You know?
Those trunks were, top of the line. I'm trying to think of like a modern day equivalent. That would be like not like way bigger than a nice modern day suitcase. Like that thing was protecting yourself from a wagon.
Yep.
That stuff was like essentially bomb proof to protect your stuff. Yeah.
So I just thought, when she said that to me, and I was like, wow, it's written down and told that what these people had and what they brought. I was like, wow, wow.
And I also was amazed, like, by, what you talked about with Hill's logistics about, like, this is the food you need. I like how all the food that he chose was, like, all, like, really easily packable. Like, he was saying, like, make bread, have spreads for the bread, like, cook all of your meat right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, all of that was, like, I guess I didn't really know about, like, how do you prepare for something this big? Yeah.
Wow.
Because we think about like preparing for like a move or preparing for a trip. Like this is kind of taking it up to like the extreme.
Right.
Yeah.
My mother talks about when my mother Janella, when her and my Aunt Tammy and my Aunt Brenda would come with my grandmother Luella out here for homecomings. So they're packed all of their nice clothes that they have sewed and made and everything like that for homecoming. And then my grandmother would have a big, she would fry some chicken up, get a loaf of bread, fill the cooler up with the sodas and the chips and stuff, and so that's what they brought to come out just for homecoming.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
So I don't know. I think I've hit all my points that I wanted to hit. Did you have anything else that you?
I think I'm gonna walk the Ellis Trail is my plan
Nice.
in the future.
Are you gonna take like a GoPro with you or your phone or something?
I probably have to. I probably won't live it, but but I think I'm gonna walk it. And I think, Chrissy, you know, like I love to walk, and
Yeah.
my parking job for this involved a lot of walking. Like most of my work day was just walking
And
from
climbing.
one ranger station
Yeah.
to the other ranger station, and that was my entire work day. And I think, you truly appreciate, like, man, this is like, to see a landscape mile per mile is very, very different than a car.
Yeah.
Like getting a car, you don't notice the hills and the bumps and what the road's like and how dusty the road is.
Oh my goodness.
And you also don't notice, like, what you're passing by. So I think I want to, like, truly appreciate, like, what it was from Ellis to Nicodemus.
More power to you, and you can just let me know.
Yeah, I think I got to start pretty soon because this is when they would have left.
Yeah.
And it's like 85 here. It's not cold.
Is it
for
85
fall.
right now?
I'm guessing.
Okay.
81.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, if there isn't any more questions, well, I'll leave it for a minute if anyone has any questions or comments about stuff. All right, we're doing stuff. I'm just checking all the fun stuff. But yeah, if anyone has any questions about anything, we'll give it a minute to comment, and then if there's more questions, I think we'll call it a day, and we'll
Yeah. I'm trying to. You're talking about walking that trail, but I'm trying to imagine being out there and what was out there.
What would be out there in 1877? Not too much bison. You probably had coyotes. It wasn't farmland. Yeah, it was all prairie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So thick walking through there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think just the unknowns, right? Like you had different plants, and also if folks, if you're not from this area, you don't know what's out here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I lived out here for forever, and I still don't know what's out here.
Yeah. Oh, Kansas is big. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of open prairie. Yeah. And folks were, of course, on train, but then you had other trails go through Kansas, like the Pony Express. You had the Oregon Trail.
Yes.
You had, before railroads, people
Yes.
were just, had to get out there by wagon.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're talking about 35 miles is a significant distance, but then you also had folks around this time period of 1870s and 1860s going 2,000 miles.
Oh my goodness.
And getting stuck in the mountains.
Yeah.
And like that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But what would make you think for people to, like, kind of take this risk? Like, I think for Nicodemus, we talked about this push-pull.
Mm-hmm,
But
I think a little bit of sense of adventure. And then definitely for the folks of Nicodemus, one of the major things was to be a landowner and to have their own little community, because of course it was promoted as an all-black town, and so they're thinking they would be able to be safe and in their own little community. But other pioneers, immigrants because out here in northwestern Kansas there are a ton of immigrant communities out here. Volga Germans, your Swedes, your
French Canadians.
Yes. So a ton of immigrant communities out here, and they were coming out here for the land as well. So the American dream, manifest destiny.
Yeah, get free, and who doesn't want free stuff?
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, Chrissy, thank you so much for talking about that. Thank you for the amazing research. Yeah. And we'll talk to you guys soon. We'll leave this up, and if you have any questions that we didn't get to, just comment, and we can type out replies, like, after this live's over.
Sweet.
All right. Well,
Thanks for setting it up.
no worries. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.